this lesson, I'd like to look at the way in which we can control the basic system behavior of Sage CRM. We're going to look at the administration screens. You can see that I've logged on as the system administrator and I've come into the administration screens, and I'm going to look at the system area and then come down into system behavior. Inside here we can see a number of different fields that allow us to control different aspects of the behavior of Sage CRM. Let's start looking through these in turn. The first two fields, use companies, use individuals, are all about the way in which we orient Sage CRM for use around business to business and business to consumer. You can see that you could turn off the use of companies and individuals who are not linked to an organization. Turning off companies would mean that you are entirely business to consumer focused, and if you decide to not allow individuals, what this means is currently if I start to create a new contact within CRM, and here I'll put in a contact called James Sanksay. We can see that if I click to enter that name, that you can see that I'm able to start picking an existing company to associate this new contact with, or I could leave this person to be entirely unrelated to an organization. Sage CRM works both with business to business and business to consumer quite happily, and if we look at the settings again, we can see that we can control whether or not we want to allow within our system the idea of individuals unlinked to an organization. The third field that we see on the screen, which is dashboard enabled, this controls whether or not dashboards are available or not, and that would affect both classic dashboards and the new interactive dashboards. If you turn that off, there are no interactive dashboards, no classic dashboards being used inside the system. Use country code, use area code. This affects the fields that we would see if we go to an individual or go to a contact within inside the system and look at the phone and email screens. This is to do with the choices that are available. So we look at the phone and email, and we can see here that we have got country code and area code being used in the telephone numbers. If we look then at the use of the default language, the default language might seem a little strange to indicate that this is affecting system behavior, but one of the areas that we look at within the training course is seeing how we can provide alternative translations for an implementation of CRM, and one of the uses of the ability to work with multiple languages is that we can add our own new language into the system, because we may want to have a set of translations that are appropriate for a particular department, let alone a particular group of users who use perhaps a different language. So language is not simply a use of completely separate translations. It is where we have slightly different dialects being used within an organization. So one part of the organization might use opportunities, another part might use new sales as the terminology. And what default language ensures is that the base translation set for all those untranslated captions would come from this particular language, which is the default language. Deduplication, what does this mean? Deduplication means do we have the behavior when we come on to start creating a new company. So if I start creating a new company here as a user, and I select and type in Gatecom, and we can see that it's made a check to see whether this company already exists. That is the pre-entry duplication search, and we can decide whether or not we want to apply this within the product, and that will affect both the company and the person entity. The next item that we see here, which is use opportunity items, this is only really applicable for either systems that have been upgraded from a very much earlier system where we worked with the idea of opportunity items, or where we are working with some ERP systems which are integrated and use the concept of opportunity items rather than quotes and orders. Most regular installs would work with quotes and orders. Maximum number of occurrences refer to when we are creating communications that are reoccurring across a particular pattern. The maximum number of occurrences refers therefore to the upper number of reoccurrences of a meeting that is allowed. The home page URL. This is useful if you want to be able to add in a fixed reference to a particular URL in the main menu. If you do this, it is a button that will appear with a fixed icon and a fixed URL on the main menu area. So if I put in here if I put in the URL that I want and save this, and I log out as my user and I log back in, you'll see that has an effect of adding in an additional menu into the main menu. It will always appear there. This is fixed, and if you want to be able to have a different menu item, then you would use an option that we'll look at in another lesson, which is the idea of system menus and controlling system menus. But the homepage URL is a very useful one for perhaps adding in a fast link to a corporate intranet. Now there are other fields that we see here: the CTI plugin class ID, CTI cab version, and the external dial prefix, default country code, area code, and the internal number length. These are all items associated with computer telephony integration, and I will cover that in another lesson. The server time zone, there are some 75 choices that can be made here in the server time zones. You need to make sure that this matches exactly the time zone that the web server is on. So this must match the time zone for the server, and if you do make a change, then you will need to carry out an IIS reset to force the load of the new time zone. And it's important to get this right because of daylight saving information. Now when we look at these other three fields, which are the communication refresh interval, opportunity refresh interval, and case refresh interval, this refers to the behavior of the tabs showing opportunities, cases, and the communications. If you move it off to a setting other than 0, what 0 means is that no behavior is demonstrated. It's not going to be polling. But if you have it set to, say, 3, then every 3 seconds CRM would refresh these screens, seeing if there are any new opportunities or cases or communications. for this user. As it is, if you have it on 0, the check for new information will be made when you recall that particular list. If we go and look now at the fields after that, which is show pipeline for opportunities and people, we can see that currently the opportunities are set by the user to say, I want to show pipelines in my preferences, and we can see that as a sales user, Susan May, I'm able to see my opportunities as a pipeline. But it is possible for the system administrator to allow pipelines to be used in the context not just of the overall user or of the team, but down at the level of the company as well. And you can see at the moment these pipeline graphics are not displayed, but if I change this, I can make the show pipelines within the context of the company and person to be allowed. And so I save these details, and this will have an immediate effect. So I have an immediate effect. So if I then pull up my opportunities again, you can see that the pipeline has been generated. If I switch back into the administration screens, we can now start to look at other areas, whether we want to have company notes. These are this is the information that we would see within the Notes tab, whether the information, any notes that are associated with a person, are rolled up into the context of the company as well, and whether they should be kept entirely separate. Allow coaching in CRM refers to whether we want to display within the context of a screen like the summary screen, coaching caption details, and we can turn this off entirely inside the system, and individual users can decide whether or not they want to turn off coaching for themselves. If it's turned off across the system, then it is turned off for everyone. They cannot turn it back on for themselves. Allow mass update and update territory. What this option means is that this will enable for system administrators and those with the rights that have been given to them to go to a group, and you will now have the ability to use the mass update and update territory buttons to carry out tasks across the set of data. If I also look at the item for Exchange server integration, this is touched on in the lesson that covers Exchange integration. The next item to consider is the recent list length, and this is referring to the amount of information that would be shown inside the recent list. So you can see here there's a limited amount of data available for this particular user. That's simply they've not populated the recent list very much, but in the course of interaction up to 40 items can be populated inside that recent list. 40 is the upper number as well. Well, that recent list can be controlled. The search select advanced fields grid size, this refers to the value that is available, the value that is used to determine the number of rows that are returned when we start the process of creating, say, a new opportunity or a new case, and we want to be able to use a web picker or the search select advanced fields in order to link this item to a parental record. You can see here that it's currently set so that 50 records are displayed before the too many records information is shown. So this is, again, there would be an effect of performance associated with that setting. So that's the search select advanced fields grid size. The default system theme is the override that exists for any users to use unless they themselves have chosen a default theme or chosen a theme to use within their user preferences. So user preferences will override the default system theme. And the themes that are available are controlled using translations. So default system, default CSV file export delimiter, this is representing when you export from within the context of groups or within the context of reports, what symbol is used within the export. So that just about wraps up the options that we have to control overall system behavior within inside CRM.